Okay, so this video is going to be about victimhood and also empowerment because they are the same thing. So I'm loving the thread of this collective discussion that's been happening between like manipulation, abuse, masculine, feminine, sexual dynamics. I was just on Clubhouse this morning and there was an incredible discussion upon sex and leadership and how those things are interwoven, how like our sexual energy is our creative energy, and how does it affect our leadership as we do sexual healing. And then that discussion furthered into victimhood and really what is that, and how much choice do we have, and are we victims or are we not victims? And from what I can tell, women are liberated in different ways around this. And so for me, it's not liberating to claim the archetype of victim. It is liberating to admit and agree that I have experienced rape. For some other women, it might be liberating for them to say, I am a victim, I have been a victim. I think what the deeper distinction to make here is when did this occur? Because I would agree, if I'm in the developmental stages where I'm physically and emotionally not yet independent, I am still an infant to adolescent, and during this time I am not a sovereign being. I am dependent upon this connectivity of whatever care I have, whether it's parental figures or community or whatever's around me. So during that time, yes, there is an element of responsibility and consent that we just do not have access to. For me, there was an emotional experience of invasion and projection. I like to, if the perception of it and the way that I like to describe it is that it's as if I was enlisted into other people's emotional experiences, and even that, allowing myself, acknowledging myself to receive the experience that those kinds of things, emotional abuse, is also a form of rape indirectly, and it can hit us just as traumatically as something physically happening. So there's so many layers to it, there's so many dynamics, but a lot of women have experienced in some way or another their boundaries being breached, consent not being met, or they not having the ability to put boundaries in place or find a voice for their own consent, whatever it may be, usually leads us to some kind of situation where we have the opportunity to feel victimized. And so, for me, a person that can say that I have been emotionally and physically raped, but I'm not a victim, because I can experience the very direct relationship of the truth that those experiences initiated me into my power. They brought me into a place of healing and forgiveness and reconciliation and resolution, like deep, true resolution, to where those things are no longer triggering to me. They're no longer pulling my energy. They're no longer enlisting me into these experiences that are not real for me, because I am not identified with the experience. Because another version of identifying with victimhood is using that to further abuse ourselves, to blame ourselves, like, oh, this is my fault, or I've done something wrong. But in the same way, what I'm expressing can also be used for that same exact thing, because we can say, well, if I'm responsible for everything and I chose it all, then what's wrong with me? Why did I do that? Why did I choose to be raped? But it has to go even beyond that. It has to go beyond this idea and this concept that we are wrong or that we've done something wrong. So now we're peeling into like deeper layers of guilt and shame and worth, unworthiness. Wherever we externalize our power, wherever we give our power away, is where we are attempting to source worth externally, where we are not feeling that connection internally. So I wanted to offer that because there's no wrong way for us to be liberated. You know, if it liberates a woman, or if it liberates you to identify as a victim of a situation, or if it liberates you to acknowledge that, wow, my boundaries and consent were crossed, and I crossed myself first, and then I allowed someone else to cross me, and we then have a situation where the power dynamic is off. There's power play, there's manipulation in place, and that is a co-creative experience. But the stories are real, the experiences are real, and for some people to hear that rape is a co-created experience is really harmful and really triggering. And so I'm aware of like the tenderness of trauma and the way that it becomes a part of us until we know how to unravel those identities and how to really make those distinctions of who I am and what occurred and what I make that mean about my experience and my expression of life. So, yeah, I will continue to dive deeper, and thanks for diving with me, and I am open to hear what your experiences are around boundaries and consent and empowerment, and how you find liberation in any context that you have around this idea of victimhood. And